Congressman Harris, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's good to be with you, Sean.
Last night, we heard, I still can't get over. I stayed riveted to the screen for 5+ hours. I don't think I've paid attention to anything for 5+ hours. Just give me your general impressions of what you thought of that service last night.
Well, look, it was historic. There's no question about it. They say the crowd there was bigger than the crowd for Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral, the crowd for John F. Kennedy. The bottom line is that Charlie Kirk touched a lot of hearts and minds, and people won't forget very, very quickly.
Is there anything among the speakers that stood out to you?
Well, I think it's just that so many people, respected him. And again, Charlie, in day-to-day life, it was in the background. I mean, those who weren't on college campuses, we weren't that exposed to him. But obviously, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, felt so strongly about him. And look, it'll be sorely missed. The movement will sorely miss him, but I think others will pick it up.
You and I have traveled to Rome together in the past, several years back, and met with the Pope, and I got to tell you, the moment that stood out to me more than anything else last night was when Erica Kirk said, "I forgive him," because that's what Jesus did, and that's what Charlie would do. I don't know that I ever could have gotten there, but certainly not a week after the tragic events that unfolded. And I just can't, I continue to believe that woman's faith, courage, and conviction is something that I've never, ever seen anyone that I've known display. That was probably the most moving moment for me.
Look, it certainly was. There's no question about it. Charlie was obviously, evangelizing Christianity. I think Erica is just as strong in that. Again, you're absolutely right. That is the epitome of Christianity, is the ability to forgive. And again, she is an incredibly, incredibly strong person.
I think what was interesting to me is earlier in the week, it was Cardinal Dolan in New York that talked about how Charlie was a modern day St. Paul. He said this: he was a missionary, he's an evangelist, he's a hero. And when Cardinal Dolan said it, I thought to myself, okay, that's something that I was searching and couldn't put my finger on it, but it's so true. This is a guy at 31. Look at that. You talk about the size, right? There's an overflow from a football arena into a hockey arena. That I feel like small in the last 10 days. Like I should do more. I don't know. I just felt like that moment to me, though, when Cardinal Dolan said that he was in essence like St. Paul, really put my finger on what Charlie, why this is such a big deal. That for people who are wondering why is Charlie Kirk have all this happen, it's because he led with his faith. It wasn't just about a political movement.
That's absolutely right. And a lot of people didn't see past that in fact, his Christianity was more important to him than his political beliefs. And again, touched millions of people. All
right, guys, I've talked a lot about wellness and whatever, and I always get the same advice from some of the healthcare professionals where they're like, eat slower, walk, after meals, and avoid all these processed foods. And I've been trying to follow a lot of that advice, but I still don't always feel great or balanced. Then I discovered a brand new product. It's called Cowboy Colostrum. I can't say that 5 times fast. Cowboy Colostrum. This stuff is amazing. It's called nature's liquid gold for a reason. It's the first milk, you're not going to believe this, that babies get. And it's packed with proteins, growth factors, peptides. It's unbelievable. It reduces inflammation, and it helps with your immunity and helps heal your gut lining and reduce bloating. So this is something you definitely want to add. It's made with the highest quality bovine colostrum in the United States, and it's sourced from milking 100% grass-fed American cows. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off their entire order. Go to cowboycolostrum.com Colostrum. That's Colostrum. Say that fast. CowboyColostrum.com. CowboyColostrum.com/Sean. You got to do this /Sean. So it's CowboyColostrum.com/Sean and use code Sean for 25% off. They're going to ask you where you heard about them. Make sure you tell them the Sean Spicer Show sent you. That's CowboyColostrum.com/Sean, code word Sean. Do you think like this changes anything in terms of going forward, like how our political dialogue is conducted? Is this, are we gonna in a month, in a week from now, in 5 days from now, be back to where we stood, or does the movement on the right get stronger? Does the movement on the left get weaker? Do we come to some détente about language? Like where do you see the fallout of this having in terms of our society?
Well, again, we'll know within several months. We'll know whether, again, what we're seeing over the past few weeks, so the past couple of weeks, whether that's extended and amplified. If it is, then you'd be absolutely right. The right will gain in its influence, the left shrink. But I think in the short term, I think that, and what we see in Washington, for instance, in the past week, is just no different than we've seen before. And that would be a shame, because I think maybe it'll sink in that what Charlie did was absolutely what you need to do. Is you need to talk with other people. You need to discuss. You can have differences, but you need to debate them. You need to discuss them.
I've been saying this for the past week plus since it happened, that both sides are not the same. You saw this tribute last night to Charlie Kirk. Peaceful, reverent, faithful. The left, that's not how they respond when someone gets attacked or hurt. They riot, commit acts of violence, vandalism, destruction. It is not the same. Our sides are different. And it pains me to say this, but I think their leaders encourage it and incite it by Maxine Waters telling people to surround people in the Trump administration when they're out, when they see him out. Chuck Schumer telling, we're going to go get you, Gorsuch. These guys believe that it's okay to resort to this. I know they don't want to say it now because it's not politically correct, that you're not supposed to say it out loud. But the bottom line is they're not the same.
No, that's absolutely right. And that's why actually Charlie Kirk's Christianity fit in with his conservatism. It was a turn the other cheek. It was, again, peacefully dialoguing. But you're right. The reaction, look at the reaction, whether it's George Floyd or any of the other ones, they aren't burning down buildings now in response. So it is a different type of reaction. And maybe Americans will see that that's the example that we need.
When the legislator in Minnesota, she was the former Speaker of the House, was killed there, the House Republicans put up a resolution condemning it and standing in solidarity with her. And every Republican voted for it. Last week, the Republican House put up a resolution honoring Charlie Kirk, and 90 Democrats didn't vote for it. Did that surprise you?
It actually did, because, in my delegation, Jamie Raskin voted to support the resolution. And what were the other 90 thinking? I just don't get it. That's why I say that, I wish this were like flipping a switch and, the dialogue and it will change immediately. I don't think it will, because there are obviously 90 people in the U.S. House of Representatives who are not ready to do what Charlie Kirk suggested, which is dialogue instead of violence.
So what's the answer, right? Because some on our side seem to want to utilize their tactics, which is to say that they want to censor some people, shut them out. And I get it. But is that the answer that we should seek, or should we fight for free speech regardless and say, hey, there's no consequences?
I do believe we should fight for free speech. I do believe that we should do all of this nonviolently. In the end, two examples shine out. Obviously, Jesus Christ being not, espousing nonviolence, and then in a more modern day example, Martin Luther King Jr. basically espousing nonviolence, even though he met a violent death, espousing nonviolence as the solution.
I want to turn for a second because we are now like, what, 7 days out from the end of the fiscal year. The House passed this continuing resolution. It's going over the Senate. What do you think is going to happen?
Look, I don't know. Maybe Chuck Schumer comes to his senses and realizes that you really just can't shut down the government, because you want to make a point. The bottom line is we sent over a clean extension of government funding. He's calling for $1.5 trillion in new unpaid for spending. I mean, it's actually it would be historic if we voted for $1.5 trillion in unpaid for spending outside of a pandemic. Certainly during the pandemic, we did. But again, I don't know where it's going to shake out. We have about a week. Again, I hope Chuck Schumer comes to his senses and we pass the continuing resolution and then begin the process, which we've already started, of debating and going to conference on the individual appropriations bills, which is the way it's supposed to be. Again, to introduce $1.5 trillion in new spending at this point in time, given that we have such a large debt and deficit, is just unbelievable.
So in your opinion, considering where the Senate is right now, do you think we're headed for a shutdown of the government, even in the short term?
Yeah, we could have a shutdown for a few days. I wouldn't, I think that's possible. I will tell you, it won't be like the shutdowns when the Democrats are in charge of the executive branch. It will be very different. Again, you won't shut down the national parks just to punish the American people. You'll be much more careful about which employees go to work, which employees don't go to work. I think most people won't notice that the government will be closed. Will technically be closed for a few days, but of course it never really is. All the essential functions go on.
And is that something that you guys within the House conference have been talking about? Like, hey, if it does shut down, we need to make sure it's not painful.
Yeah, absolutely. If it shuts down, for instance, in the first few days, we'll pass a bill that makes sure that our military gets paid, that makes sure first responders get paid. I mean, and just, see if the Democrats want to vote against that as well. The bottom line is, we may have to just go through a few days, see what it's like. But I think in the end, we will get a short-term extension and we will begin the orderly process of debating the appropriations bills the way we're supposed to be doing it.
Speaking of that, I mean, what I don't understand is that we're back where it feels like Groundhog Day. Like, why are we here? Why weren't these? I see you kind of like, this is like what you guys in the Freedom Caucus always talk about. Like, why are we here at the end of a fiscal year going, oh my God, now we have to pass? Like, we have a Republican House, we have a Republican Senate, we have Donald Trump as our president. Why is this process still broken?
Well, we're negotiating, and again, the bottom line is that Chuck Schumer doesn't want to agree to in an orderly fashion to negotiate the appropriations bills. But I'll tell you, it's more than that, Sean. The fact of the matter is the government has gotten very big, the budget's gotten very large, and we probably are going to have to go to every other year appropriations, perhaps maybe excluding defense, because that's important. We might have to do that every year. But everything else, we should just go into a 2-year appropriation cycle. So that we can have the time to do it right and then to debate it and to get these done by the deadlines. The deadline has not been met since the law was passed. I mean, the last time all the deadlines in that 1973 Budget Act were met was the year the law was passed. That's it.
Okay, so we need to change the process, is what I'm hearing, to go to like biannual budgets, so that and is that? But okay, so that's that. On the spending point, to your question, like, what is post Elon Musk? What's happening to make sure that we don't continue to spend wasteful amounts of money?
Well, I think what we're holding for is we're holding for level funding. So a continuing resolution obviously does that. Even if we pass appropriations bills, to vote for level funding. And that will allow rescissions to occur. So that will be the ceiling of spending. And of course, we're used now to rescinding money in all the agencies. So we will actually slowly begin to reduce spending, but at least stop the runaway growth.
And is that something that most Republicans are on board with?
Yes, most Republicans are, and actually, the Democrats are agreeing to basically level funding, even through appropriations bills. I think they have finally come to their senses and realized, except for Chuck Schumer's $1.5 trillion, desire to add to the continuing resolution, that if we negotiate these appropriations bills, we will basically level fund them from last year.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.